time it is. It's Shadowhunters o'clock. Episode 13, Heidi. I literally cannot stand Heidi, and I knew she'd be back eventually. She just has to mess everything up all the time, and this episode was no exception. We've gone through another episode and she's still living. Can somebody please finish her off? I'm with poor, now deceased Nick. When he was telling Jordan that she needed to be killed on sight. Yeah, should have listened. It's gotten to the point now where they shouldn't have mercy when it comes to her. So in this episode, we have Jordan back. Him and some more of the Praetor Lupus are looking for Heidi. She's still a dangerous vampire. They need to track her down and contain her. The plan was to capture her. Nick wanted to kill her. She killed Nick. Poor Nick, whoever you were. Have we even seen Nick before? I don't know. But he's dead now. So this leads Heidi into wanting a war between the vampires and the wolves. Basically all she does this episode is stare shit. With Raphael out of the way, Griffin? Is his name Griffin? I really should watch episodes twice before I film videos because I just forget everything. I'm pretty sure his name's Griffin. He is the new head of the New York Vampire Clan. Heidi comes back to Hotel de Mort seeking a place to hide, and of course the vampires aren't gonna let her stay with them considering how much shit she's caused. So she gets kicked out whilst actively warning them that it's only a matter of time before the wolves come to them. Little did we know at that point that she was going to make sure the wolves were going to come to them. She finds some girl that she clearly used to know, attacks her and compels her to say that she is at Hotel de Mort in order to make it look like the New York clan are hiding her. Jordan and the rest of his team go to the hotel, confront the vampires. Jordan gets a little bit too angry. You could easily see where this was going. The vampires were obviously going to end up siding with Heidi in the end. What gets me is that no one thought to question the lady who'd been attacked. It's pretty common knowledge that vampires are able to compel people to do what they want them to do. And it was quite a random attack for Heidi. Surely somebody could have noticed that this wasn't in her pattern. Heidi's that type of vampire that if she wanted blood from somebody, she'd just drain them and kill them at this point. Why did she randomly attack an old school friend or whatever and then leave her alive? I am surprised that no one questioned that. The only explanation I can think for that is that the wolves clearly wanted an excuse to blame the rest of the vampires. They want to believe that they're hiding her so that they're all in the wrong. I don't know. Either way, it leads to a horrible fight at the end of the episode in Jade Wolf. Throughout this episode we see Maya and the rest of the wolves struggling without Luke as their alpha. Luke actually manages to convince Maya that she should be alpha because she's the right person for the job. I absolutely love the conversation between them. I want someone to have as much faith in me as Luke does in Maya. Honestly, we find out during a conversation between her and Simon that she's decided to at least try and take on a bigger role so that she can eventually reach alpha. So we ended up having the conversation between Maya and Simon. We knew their relationship wasn't going to go much further in this half of the season because it's pretty clear that Sizzy is starting to happen slowly but surely. Maya told Simon that she does want to try and work her way up through the ranks, and to do that she can't have anything else in her life distracting her. I loved how this conversation went down because it was just so mature and nice. Obviously it's difficult for both of them, but they dealt with it so perfectly. They ended it on good terms. You have Maya saying how much of an amazing guy Simon is, and Simon talking about how lucky the wolves are to have Maya. I love mutual love and support, even if it's not romantic anymore. I'm so mad at the show for making Maya the Maya that she is, because I literally adore her and it made me ship her with Simon, which just makes me more sad because I love Sizzy, but I also love Maya. But before Maya even gets a chance to start slowly getting the rest of the wolves on side. This fight breaks out in Jade Wolf because Heidi has convinced the vampires to get their own back, and they attack Jade Wolf. I hated this scene, it was so traumatic. Jordan ends up getting stabbed by the lead vampire. I love how Maya was immediately like, back the fuck up. She was ready to take him down there and then. But she's trying to get Jordan out of there so that he'll survive. And then the alpha gets killed. Poor Maya having to watch that through the window. I know she wanted to be alpha, but that's not how we wanted things to go down. Every time Maya's life is looking up a little bit, something traumatic happens to her. She deserves so much better. So yeah, the episode ended in the middle of a cliffhanger. Maya and Jordan have locked themselves in a storeroom. The vampires are trying to break in. What a lovely place to end the episode. Thanks so much, guys. Whilst the vampire and wolf war is going down, we have Clary trying to come to terms with this mark that's on her, connecting her to Jonathan. Very quick celebrations about her being alive, by the way. We got a brief reunion between her and Simon and her and Izzy, and then she was with Jace for the rest of the episode. Kind of wanted more scenes between her and Simon, just because Simon thought he killed his best friend. I felt like there should have been a big conversation between the two of them, but that just didn't happen. Hopefully we'll get that next week or something. And Clary and Jace become determined to get this mark off Clary, especially after Jonathan burns his own hand in order to hurt Clary. I didn't even think about the fact that he could do that. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want my psychopath brother being connected to me. So Clary and Jace start researching, and Jace remembers a book that Valentine showed him that has an illustration of Michael and Lucifer, and they are connected by this same rune that's on Clary. So after Jonathan burns his hand and hurts Clary, she becomes determined to get the mark off. Her and Jace decide to try and burn it. That was such a horrible scene, by the way. Poor Clary just goes through so much shit. That doesn't work. And then all of a sudden, Clary changes her attitude towards it. This change of heart seemed to happen a little bit too quickly for me. One minute Jace is trying to burn this rune off her chest, and the next she's lighting candles for a nice romantic evening with Jace, deciding to live her life no matter what's happening. I just felt like she changed her mind all too quickly in order to put a nice romantic clay scene. She was all determined to get it off 5 seconds ago, but now all of a sudden she's like, you know what? If it's on, it's on. I'm not gonna let Jonathan control my life. Let's have some sexy times. It was a conveniently placed romantic scene in order to get Clary in bed with her clothes off, so that we could see the traumatic scene of Jonathan carving a message into her arm. He is such a psychopath. Yeah, didn't like that scene at all. I miss you. I hate him. I hate him. Yeah, so I'm very wary to see where that's going to go, and if he's going to leave any more messages on her. I really hope not. So let's talk about Izzy and Alec in this episode. Oh, we finally got some good sibling bonding time. I absolutely love the two of them together because they have such a wonderful relationship. In this episode, Izzy tries to ask Magnus for something to help with her cravings. She ends up admitting to him what happened. We all knew that he was going to go and tell Alec. Magnus knows that Alec would want to know that something that serious has happened. So he tells Alec, and Alec ends up on a mission with Izzy. One of the people in the guard has agreed to meet up and tell her what's happening. The conversation that Alec and Izzy had when Alec was telling her to open up to him, I just love them. I like how Alex said that he'd been doing research into the meetings that she goes to, because that's the sweetheart that he is. It was such a cute scene. Also, not to be shallow, but Izzy in that red dress with that leather jacket, my wife. But as nice as their lovely and meaningful conversations were, the mission that they were on completely went to shit, because the person that Izzy was going to talk to ends up getting attacked. Clearly an inside job from the guard. He says something to Izzy. Alec and Izzy tell MAYRSE about what's been happening, and they tell her what he said before he died. It turns out it means heavenly fire, and MAYRSE says that it is an underground clave project and that she doesn't want Alec and Izzy getting involved with it. They're gonna get involved with it. There's no way that they're going to let this drop. I liked the Heavenly Fire name drop. I'm so excited to see where this goes, honestly. Whilst we are talking about MAYRSE and Luke, I never expected to ship this, ever. But here we are. In this episode, Luke gets MAYRSE to help him unlock a warlock safe to try and help the whole situation with Jonathan and Clary, see if they can find out any more information. And they have some lovely bonding time whilst they're waiting for MAYRSE to crack the code. I loved the whole exiles to another conversation that they had. When you think about it, they are perfect for each other, really. They've both seen the nasty side of the clave, they've both been involved in the circle, they can bond over those things. It's a good thing. It's meant to be. They did end up sharing a cheeky kiss. I mean, I don't blame either of them. It was all over very quickly, but clearly that's not going to be the end of this. I'm looking forward to where it goes because they are very cute and flirtatious towards each other, and I like it. It's just making me laugh thinking about how Luke's literally going to end up a dad to everyone in that institute. At the moment, he's like Clary's adoptive father, and at some point he's gonna have to sit down with the Lightwoods and explain that he's, you know, with their mother as well. And not to mention the fact that he has Maya as well. And you know, at this point, technically, he is a guardian for Simon. We love everyone's favourite, not really dad, but also dad, Luke. He's just got all these kids to look after. So yeah, that was about it for this episode. I am so excited to see where all of these different plots are leading. Definitely keen to find out more on this Heavenly Fire project. As always, if there are things that I have forgotten to mention, which there probably are, feel free to discuss them down in the comments and tell me your thoughts and feelings on this episode. Do you ship Luke and MAYRSE as much as I do? What do we even call them? Lucris? Mayuk? That sounds like a Pokemon. Mayuk. I don't know. I don't care. I just know that I want them together. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week. Bye!